This guy went from making I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road, ride till I can't, and now we see him busting it wide open for the devil. What's up, YouTube? Thank you guys for tuning into today's video. My name is Lonnie Spence. I'm the host of the Lonnie Spence Show. Appreciate you guys for clicking on today's video. We're going to be breaking down and reacting to Lil Nas X's newest music video, Montero, Call Me By Your Name. This is the official video to it. I only have issue with the way Lil Nas X is marketing and the way he is going about selling his product or his brand and the images and the lifestyle he is promoting and saying is okay to do to children. Because we have to understand, this is an artist, Lil Nas X is an artist that started off with the song Old Town Road. I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. You guys know that song, and that garnered billions of views, especially from young children. So by him starting off his career with a song like Old Town Road and millions of people listening to it, dancing to it, reacting to it, all these different things, he has a young audience, and with the young audience comes a lot of responsibility. And now what we'll see when I show you guys the breakdown from this video, not even just including the satanic images within this video and the message that it displayed and depicted, but we will be talking about why I view, and it has nothing to do with his orientation or how he identifies, why, in my opinion, I think this is not healthy to be promoting and spreading across the internet, across YouTube, across social media, which it is. This is going to blow up. This will be another hit for him. Why I'm making this video and why I'm against him coming out making a song like Old Town Road, which he knew little kids would like, and then him switching up his image once he gets those little kids to be his fans, to be his followers, and like his music, and then switch over to a music video in a song like Montero where there's a lot of satanic imagery and pagan rituals being performed within the video itself. So with no further ado, that's enough of me talking. Let's break down this video. All right, guys, so the music video starts off in a setting that looks like almost like a heaven state or some type of dream state, and what appears to be beautiful on the outside in appearance has subliminal messages within it. Always remember that. This is how Hollywood slowly sneaks in certain things without you even realizing it. They subconsciously program your mind. So what we see here is a beautiful scenery, but in the distance right here is evil. All right, these are the horns of, if you forgot, the Baphomet. All right, guys, this is the Baphomet. This is what it looks like. This is the god that Hollywood and all the elites worship. I can't go into too much detail or this channel could get shut down. However, this is what they're trying to push in this opening scene in the agenda. Things that may seem beautiful on the outside always have some hidden meaning behind it, and there's always something lurking behind everything beautiful. So as the music video progresses, we see the camera go down into this utopian world known as Monero, which you'll find out later. And while the camera pans through this utopian world, we hear Lil Nas X saying this: "In life, we hide the parts of ourselves we don't want the world to see. We lock them away. We tell them no. We bash them. But here we don't. Welcome to Montero." And clearly we can see here is a mask, and this looks like Lil Nas X. So this is clearly symbolic of him removing his mask that he had up, and now he is truly expressing who he really is and what he represents for Hollywood and the elites and the agenda he will be promoting moving forward with his music. And as the camera continues to pan, we see the snake from the Garden of Eden approaching Lil Nas X. So you can see in the distance right here, playing a guitar next to the tree with the knowledge of good and evil. This is all symbolic and all biblically referenced in the beginning. Once again, the snake represents temptation and deception. So here's a better shot of Lil Nas X playing the guitar. As we'll see in the next clip, he's also wearing snakeskin as well. He's going through a transformation period. Just like a snake sheds its skin, Lil Nas X is shedding his past image of being a fun-loving and good role model to children and young adults, and now he is showing his true characters, his true colors, and the fact that he is a satanic prop used by the elites to promote this new world order and new agenda. So then the camera pans into him playing. Pay attention to his eyes here. They're his normal colored eyes right here. But look at his nails. You can't tell if he's a male or a female. Remember, guys, that is the whole purpose of Hollywood promoting this new agenda. They don't want there to be any gender. They don't want there to be any identification. The government wants to be your identification. And this is why they promote pansexuality. And then we see in the next clip right here a close-up of the first shot of the snake. The snake tempted Eve and offered her forbidden fruit, which Eve bit into and then tempted Adam to bite into. This is all symbolic. And just like the snake tempted Eve, we see the snake now going to tempt Lil Nas X. Also, if you pay attention to what the snake looks like, you will see right here that it not only has a third eye, but it resembles Osiris, all right? The god Osiris or Osiris. And it also has a third eye right here as well, which is represented by the snake. To briefly summarize who Osiris was, this is the god of the dead, the underworld, and the afterlife. And the third eye that you see in this video, which is another representation of Osiris, but they're trying to mask it through it looking like a snake. The third eye is directly related to the sixth chakra and pineal gland. It is located on the middle of the forehead above the brows, along with the sixth chakra that sits in the back of the third eye of the pineal gland. It is the psychic site of the soul. In the average person, the pineal gland is atrophied and dormant. Because of centuries of humanity being cut off from practicing power meditation where energy is circulated like blood where it is needed, many areas of the human soul have ceased to function. The third eye contains the last of 3 knots. Once this knot is open and energy flows through, the crown chakra is easy to open. The third eye contains the astral sight. Through the third eye, astral images are transferred to the brain. The third eye is also important in telepathy and influencing others, because he is influencing the youth, guys. You have to realize Lil Nas X is looked up to by so many, like billions of children, okay? Especially after the 2 huge songs that he came out with that were played everywhere. You see little kids dance to it, babies dancing to it. So what he did was sell his soul, and now he is able to influence others, and he is showing you what he did in the process to get to the level he's at in order to influence this many people. So Lil Nas X is telling us that he has tapped into his third eye and now he is able to influence others. But he had the ability to not do that, but he was tempted by it and tempted by himself, because if you look closely at the serpent, which is represented by Osiris, it resembles Lil Nas X himself. It's just in snake form. So he was tempted by his own dark urges to influence others, and he chose this. So now that we see what the third eye represents, we see the snake sliding down the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and Lil Nas X takes notice to it. After Lil Nas X takes notice of the snake, we see him get up and start running. But while we see him running, we see him being tempted by the snake. We see his dark side represented by the snake everywhere he looks, which is tempting him. And then you'll see the snake in this final image here pop up, scare Lil Nas X for one last time before Lil Nas X finally gives in. And what we see here is also a representation of the horn. All right, guys, this is all purposefully put within the video to subconsciously program your mind to think of the Baphomet, to worship the Baphomet, to have that image within your mind. Actually, after viewing this video, I felt a dark presence about it, and I didn't feel very good after viewing it myself. But Hollywood does little things like this, like making the shape of a horn out of the snake's body in order to subconsciously program your mind. You just have to be up on this knowledge to understand it. We then see the snake, aka Osiris, aka the serpent within the garden of good and evil, begin to influence and infiltrate Lil Nas X's mind and overtake his body. And if you look closely right here, you can see Lil Nas X is making direct eye contact with the serpent's third eye, not the serpent's eyes. Here we get a better view of the serpent as it programs Lil Nas X as he stares into the eye right here. We will see Lil Nas X's eyes change within the next image. So just like in the Garden of Eden when Eve was tempted, Lil Nas X is also tempted, and he gives into his temptation the same way, and we see the transformation taking place as his eyes begin to look like the third eye that was represented on Osiris, aka the serpent in the garden. And then we see Nas X start to fall, which represents falling into temptation. Then the serpent mounts Nas X and kisses him, which represents the first time Lil Nas has kissed another man. And he talks about this in his story as well. If you listen to the lyrics, he talks about having fun, partying with certain substances, and then exploring different things. And I believe that this is representative of him trying out something that seemed dark and evil at first, but then once he tasted it, it became sweet and he gave in to his own desires. So in this image right here, we see Lil Nas submit to the serpent, submit to his true dark nature, because the serpent also represents his own image. And then you get the point, the serpent begins to explore Lil Nas X's body. Lil Nas likes the feeling, and once he bit into the forbidden fruit that he was told not to bite into, he can't leave this lifestyle. And we'll also see here is a fingernail that could either be represented by camouflage, and we all know what camouflage stands for. He is masking his true self, his true intentions. What seems good may appear evil. This could also represent the scales on a serpent as well. So after Lil Nas has his fling with the serpent, we see the camera pan back over to the tree with the knowledge of good and evil with this message on it, and I will break down what this message means right now. What was written on the tree was Plato's Symposium, and when one of them meets with his other half, the actual half of himself, whether he be a lover of youth or a lover of another sort, the pair are lost in amazement of love and friendship and intimacy, and one will not be out of the other's sight, as I may say, even for a moment. These are the people who pass their whole lives together, yet they cannot explain what they desire of one another. And the reason this was put into the music video after Lil Nas had his little fling with the serpent was because the serpent represented his other half that he had yet to explore. The other half that he didn't realize he would have an amazing time with of love and friendship and intimacy, which is him exploring his sexuality. And this is the agenda they are promoting to the youth. They want young children to explore and to be free. And some of this may seem good, just like the forbidden fruit seemed good at the time in the Garden of Eden. But once Eve bit into it, once she gave it to Adam, their lives changed forever and sin entered the world. Just like the same way, once Lil Nas bit into the forbidden fruit and decided to sell his soul, he's going to contribute to destroying the lives and dragging down the lives of many children and younger adults listening to his music. The scene after that, we see Lil Nas X freely expressing himself, but he is on trial by himself, all right? He's being judged by himself, and this is representative of his own feelings internally about battling with him coming out as G-A-Y to the world and him feeling judged by others and himself. Here they have him chained up and in trial to determine what they're going to do with him. The camera pans over to the judges, which are all represented by himself. Once again, he is judging himself and what he is going to do with his life and his decision, if he's going to come out or if he's going to remain in the closet. The camera then pans over to the crowd, and we see the crowd represented by the stone looking people because they are supposed to be stone cold, all right, and they are judging him for his decision to come out as G-A-Y. And we see right here one of the stone people takes an object, and I'll break down what the object is later on, and throw it at Lil Nas X, hitting Lil Nas X in the head with what looks like a butt plug and killing him. Obviously, the booty plug here is supposed to represent a stone, because these stone cold people that we just saw in the clip earlier are stoning him for being different and stepping out. So in the next scene, Lil Nas X is seen here ascending to heaven, or it looks like heaven, but if we look in the distance, this is supposed to be Satan, or the fallen angel, and we'll get into that as this video goes on. Here we see him ascending up into the arms of the fallen angel, aka Lucifer. And right before he reaches Lucifer, we see a giant stripper pole from the underworld shoot up, and Lil Nas X grabs hold of it in his go-go boots and begins to spiral down into the pits of hell on the stripper pole. So here we go, sliding down the stripper pole in his underwear and go-go boots. We see hell represented on one side, which is the forces of evil, and then the forces of good. Remember the knowledge of good and evil in the beginning from the garden. We see the knowledge of evil right here and the knowledge of good. However, he is descending down into the depths of evil and depravity. So to the unassuming eye, it would look like Lil Nas is just sliding down the pole. He's almost reached hell. But if you look closely right here, you can see horns in the background, once again representing the Baphomet, representing the devil, representing that he has changed and the transformation has begun. Next, we see Lil Nas X here walking up to the gates of hell. We see the fallen angel, aka Satan, who was the master of music in heaven until he was cast out, which is why we see satanic images and lyrics in songs all the time, because Satan was the most beautiful musician, but he thought he was better than God, and he was sent down and cast out by God to rule over the earth. And this image of the fallen angel, which represents Satan, is promoted across a lot of albums within the music industry and a lot of music, because they do worship Satan at the end of the day. So they're always going to attribute all of their success and all of their fame and glory to the fallen angel himself, and I will show you an example of this. So this is the artwork on Travis Scott's album, The Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight. As we can see here, he's also taking on the image of the fallen angel and paying his respect to Satan as well. Lil Nas finally enters hell, and this is the first image we see of what it looks like. We see Satan right here sitting on his throne. We see the Baphomet image represented right here with the pentagram as well as the eyes. And we see the pentagram on the floor as well. Hollywood is just throwing in our faces at this point. This could be a marketing move to get views, to get clicks, to get conspiracy theories. But I mean, this is clear representation of what exactly they are trying to promote with this new agenda. So in the next clip, we see Lil Nas make his way over to the devil. Obviously, the devil is wearing the horns of the Baphomet. We then see him begin to perform his ritual on the devil and dance up on him and get very intimate and sensual, licking the devil on the cheek and then busting it wide open on the devil. Busting it wide open, guys. This guy went from making "I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road, ride till I can't," and now we see him busting it wide open for the devil. And his little kid audience from Old Town Road is still listening to this man because they liked his old music, and he's gonna drag them to straight to hell, just like what he's doing here. And for those of you guys that are out there that are saying I'm targeting his orientation, I'm not targeting his orientation. I'm targeting his messaging. And the fact that there's better ways to market yourself than to drag other children to depths of depravity like this and expose them to intimacy at such an early age through explicit imagery in a video that can be viewed by the public and has no age restriction. So we see the next clip, a full display of Lil Nas X's tattoo. We can see the 6 6s on the dice right here, as well as the Baphomet in the middle of that. I mean, really at this point, need I say any more of what's going on here? He is fully possessed, obviously, by the devil as he spreads it wide open, once again, busting it down on the devil, guys. And little kids can watch this video. It's free to everyone on YouTube. This is crazy to me that we are actually living in a time where this is acceptable to show to anyone on the internet, anyone on YouTube, and there's no age restriction. And the fact that this man sold himself as a friendly, new, upcoming, upbeat, fun musician for children. Then we see Lil Nas X break the devil's neck and proceed to take the devil's crown. And then the music video ends with Lil Nas X putting the crown or the Baphomet's horns on his head and becoming fully possessed, taking the responsibility that the devil once had for programming the youth and the children, and now assuming that responsibility in the next generation of young children that listen to this guy. Because the goal of the Baphomet and what Hollywood is trying to promote is to promote pansexuality and influence the children. That is their main goal, because they understand at this age your mind is still developing and your mind is a sponge. So if they can program you to think the way they want you to think at an early age and obey and listen and worship the Baphomet, then they can control you. I could go on and on about this video, but I don't want to make it too long, but I'll just say this. Hollywood and the elites are trying to promote this agenda of fluidity, so you will be confused so they can manipulate you. That is why they promote pagan gods and worship the Baphomet. Remember in the beginning of this video when I was talking about Osiris and how Osiris is the god of influence? Who are these little children looking up to and praying to? They are praying to the Baphomet. They are praying to their own dark desires. Just like how Lil Nas X through this music video was telling his story about how he was deceived and now he wants to take on the throne of being a master influencer like Osiris. We will see him continue to promote this sick agenda and this sick Hollywood weirdo culture. And the only way we can stop stuff like this from happening is by talking about it and advocating against it and calling it out when it happens. Once again, I have nothing wrong with the way he identifies himself, but I do have an issue with how he influences the youth, the children, and the images he chooses to promote and how he gets his message across. I also don't think it sends a good message and represents the Black community nor the LGBTQ community well when messages like this are promoted from an influencer that represents both the Black and the LGBTQ community. He could just be doing this for promotion to get people to talk about it, but at the end of the day, you're messing with young children's minds that are easily influenced, and their minds are like sponges, so they can absorb this stuff and they don't know how to process it and handle it. And you are going to mess with their minds growing up and expose them to things that their minds can't handle. And that is what I have a real issue with. Be sure to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, share the video to anyone that might need to see this, and hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. I know YouTube's not going to promote this video because I spoke too much truth in it, but the way to get it out there and spread it to more people is by sharing the content and engaging with the algorithm. I'd love to hear what you thought about this video, and until next time, have a blessed rest of your day. Peace, I'm gone. Have a good one.